What is going on, college basketball fans? Welcome back to another video, and today we got another Feast Week tournament, and this one is the Maui Invitational. It is a very stacked field. It's going to be tough to predict. It's going to be super fun to watch, though, and got my predictions here for you guys today. Before we get started, I just want to say subscribe if you guys are new. We do a ton of college basketball content here on the channel, including a few more Feast Week tournament predictions coming your way. We got weekly rankings, bracketologies, hot takes coming out soon on the channel where you guys can have your hot take in a video. If you guys want to do that, go on the community tab. I just posted that. But yeah, guys, let's get into our Maui Invitational prediction. Okay, guys, like I said, this is a very stacked field. We got Memphis versus Uconn, Colorado versus Michigan State, Auburn versus Iowa State, and Dayton versus North Carolina, all in the first round. And these are some really good teams. You could argue that there are definitely, four top 10 teams in this tournament, which is pretty insane. Definitely four top 15 teams, 100%. So this is going to be very interesting, and we are going to find out a lot about these teams. And mind you, I do know a lot about these teams, but some of them are untested. And this is where we find out a lot about these teams, like the Charleston Classic. I posted my predictions for those. The two teams that I had in the championship game, which were VCU and Miami, are now in the battle for not to get last place. So that tournament, it was like anyone could win that tournament. We found out a lot about those teams. Now we're going to do the same with these teams, and we have a lot of top contenders in here, so it is going to be very, very interesting. But let's see what, I think before it starts, how I think about these teams. I'm starting here with Memphis versus Uconn. Uconn, the back-to-back reigning national champions, only returning one starter from last year's championship team in Alex Garaban, but they are still dominating. They have one of the best offensive, offenses in college basketball. Still, Dan Hurley is the best coach in college basketball, in my opinion. I think he surpassed Bill Self at Kansas, and yeah, Uconn stacked. But Memphis has a new superstar on their team named PJ Haggerty, who has been averaging over 20 points per game and is one of the best scoring guards in the entire country. So Uconn is going to have to slow him down. Uconn is going to They're going to do what they do. They're going to shoot the ball. They're going to go on some runs. They're going to play tough defense. I think Uconn is going to win this game. I do give Memphis a chance, though. That's going to be a tough game for Memphis. I think that it is possible they could pull it off, but I think Uconn, they just reloaded. Aiden Mahaney hasn't really, taken off with Uconn yet. We'll see if he does in this tournament. But I think Alex Caravan's always going to be consistent shooting the ball. You got Samson Johnson down low in the post or in the pick and roll. And Liam McNeely, I believe. Yeah, Liam McNeely, the freshman, has been a pretty good scorer for Uconn as well. I think it's going to be too much for Memphis. PJ Haggerty. It's going to be too much for PJ Haggerty, Tyrese Hunter, and this good Memphis team to beat Uconn. I just can't pick against them, not in this first game. If Uconn does pull it off, I think it is going to have to be because of Dane Danger and maybe Cius down low. I feel like they are going to have some pretty big games if they are going to want to win, not just in the scoring department, but also the rebounding department as well. Next up, we do have Colorado. Versus Michigan State, and I'm not going to lie, guys, this is the easiest game for me to pick in the first round of this tournament. I don't think Colorado is that good. They lost a lot from last year's team that made the NCAA tournament. They lost Tristan da Silva. They lost Cody Williams. They lost Eddie Lampkin in the transfer portal to Syracuse. So Colorado is losing a lot, and they just don't have the team that they had last year at all. I think I actually predicted them to be the worst team in the Big 12 conference. And the Big 12 is really good. I just don't think Colorado is going to be that good this year, and I don't see them competing with this Tom Izzo Michigan State team that I feel like is more consistent than they've been over the last couple of years. So I'm going to go with Tom Izzo's team here that has been playing pretty consistent with his two guards, Frankie Fielder and what's his name? But yeah, give me Michigan State Sparty to move on to the second round of the Maui. Next up, we do have Auburn versus Iowa State, and this is easily the best first round matchup in the Maui. These two teams, in my opinion, are top 5 teams right now, according to my last rankings, and Auburn is, I believe, my number 2 team, or maybe even my number 1. I forget if I had them or Gonzaga, but they're either 1 or 2 for me after that big win over Houston earlier this year, and I think both these teams have tremendous guards. They have really good guard play. The big X factor for me might be Johni Broome. I think Johni Broome he was already an excellent player the past few years. Ever since he was at Morehead State, he was an excellent player. They made the NCAA tournament with him at Morehead State. But he has taken it to the next level this year. And I feel like Iowa State's bigs, specifically Deshaun Jackson, the transfer from Charlotte, might have some trouble. Although he is a good defender down low, he might have some trouble with Johni Broome, who looks like maybe one of the better scoring bigs in the country. I feel like that is the X factor. But also for Auburn, it's going to have to be Kelly with the 3 balls. It's going to be Tahad Pettiford, the freshman, with the 3-pointers and just scoring in general. I feel like could help Auburn go over Iowa State here. If Iowa State does win, I feel like Deshaun Jackson is going to have to play a very good defensive game, play a very good game on the glass against Johni Broome. Kashawn Gilbert, Tamin Lipsey, they're going to have to be scoring in all facets of the game and playmaking. And this is Iowa State's first real test. Auburn has had a test already, and they've won. I am going to pick Auburn just because I feel like Johni Broome is going to be that X factor, and they also have a guy in JP Peggs who has yet to play well so far this year. And I think, this tournament could be the place where he does it. He's a transfer from Furman. He hasn't played good at all so far this year. It's been Auburn's other guards who have really taken over. And let's not forget, Auburn is a very good defensive team as well. They're going to be playing very good defense on these Iowa State guards. And you add in the Johni Broome factor in the front court. I feel like Auburn has the better front court. They both are going to be scrappy on defense with the guards. So that's the difference in this one. I'm going to take Auburn to win in the first round. Next up, we got Dayton and North Carolina, and this is going to be a super good matchup here. Dayton has some really good guards. Yes, they did lose Kobe Brea and, of course, Deron Holmes last year, but they still have a solid team between Malachi Smith and all these other good guards. And in North Carolina, we know about their guards, R.J. Davis, Elliot Cadeau, Seth Trimble, Ian Jackson, the freshman. They look really good, and North Carolina already got to play a game in Hawaii against Hawaii before this tournament started, which was very good scheduling there by North Carolina. Get an extra game there while you're on the island. And this one, I actually very much thought about taking Dayton to pull off the upset because I believe it is possible that they can do it. I think Elliot Cadeau is a very underrated playmaker. He's taken a big jump from last year to this year, and I think he's going to be the reason North Carolina wins this game. So I am going to go with UNC here to win. I did really want to pick this upset here in the first round and go with Dayton. I think that they can do it for sure. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I just think UNC, the guard play is too good. They are experienced guards. R.J. Davis, if he's going to take a lot of shots. That's his role on this team, is to shoot the ball. Whenever their set offense isn't working, he's going to find a way to try to get a bucket, and he's going to put up a lot of shots. And if he's making them, I feel like North Carolina is definitely going to win. But Elliot Cadeau, a very good playmaker, a very good scorer as well. I'm going to take UNC to win that one. Let's go ahead and get this losers bracket out of the way first. We got Memphis and Colorado. Like I said, I just don't think Colorado is that good of a team. I could see them actually playing Memphis pretty close, but I think Memphis wins that one in a close one. Next up, we do have Iowa State and Dayton, and Dayton could keep this one close as well, but I think Iowa State, after losing to Auburn, they're going to be like, okay, we cannot go 0-2 to start the Maui. They're really going to turn it on. I got to take Iowa State here. They're too good. I feel like their front court isn't going to be as effective against Auburn because of the Janai Broom. But against Dayton, I really think that the sophomore Milan, what's his last name, Mamovic or something like that, and Deshaun Jackson, they could really have a day with Dayton's front court. Even though they do have Zed Key down low, I still think Iowa State has the better front court overall and the better defense for Dayton's guards like a Malachi Smith. So give me Iowa State here to move on in the losers bracket. And finally, for the 7th place, we have Dayton and Colorado. I am going to pick Dayton to beat Colorado here. I just don't think Colorado is that good, honestly. I think Dayton has a better team, so I am going to take Dayton there in that one to not finish last place, and it will be Colorado going 0 for 3 in Maui this year as the last place team. Dayton in 7th place. As far as Memphis and Iowa State, that is a really good game, again, between some very good guards, and I'm going to go with Iowa State here. I think they're too good, and although I do think Memphis is probably the best team in their league in the AAC, I do expect them to be a tournament team. Even if they don't win their league, I feel like they can get an at-large bid this year. I think Iowa State is one of the better teams in the country. They're untested, and if they do lose to Auburn, I don't see them losing another game in the Maui when they do get to the losers bracket. So I am going to take Iowa State here to get 5th place. Now for our top 4, we got Uconn, Michigan State, Auburn, and North Carolina. In our first game, we do have Uconn versus Michigan State, and I do feel like I understand that he didn't score that much against Kansas, but he is also the best guard on this team. So whenever you are playing those better teams, like he's about to here against Uconn, he kind of does have to be able to find his own shot, especially in a close game or when they're down. So he's going to need to be able to do that. I don't know if he will be able to. I do like a lot of pieces on this Michigan State team. They are one of those teams who doesn't really have a star player that they play through. Carr is a very good athlete. I could see him getting some backdoor cuts maybe on Uconn, but it's going to be pretty tough. Samson Johnson down low, I think he could have a good day against this Michigan State team. I think Liam McNeely, and like I said, Aiden Mahaney's the big X factor for me in this tournament. Caravan, even the freshman, Liam McNeely's looked good so far. I guess really Liam McNeely and Aiden Mahaney untested so far at Uconn. And we'll see if they can really break out in this tournament, and that's to me going to be the difference if Uconn can win the Maui or not. I am going to take Uconn though to move on to the finals over Michigan State, and Michigan State will be in the 3rd place game against the loser of Auburn and UNC. Now for the winner of Auburn UNC, this is going to be a very good game. I could see this going either way. I worry about Auburn. I think Auburn is the better team between them and North Carolina. But I worry because they've played in so many big games. Are they going to continue to win these big games? Every team is going to have some slip-ups throughout the regular season. And Auburn's already played Houston, and at this point they would already have played Iowa State, where they've won them both. Are they going to slip up against a team like North Carolina? If R.J. Davis is hitting a lot of his shots, if Seth Trimble is driving to the rack, if Ian Jackson is isolated and getting some buckets, and if Elliot Cadeau is playing in his bag and playmaking for all of his teammates, I think North Carolina 100% could win this game. But I do like Bruce Pearl as a coach. I think defensively they play really good, especially at the perimeter. And if they do get to the paint, they got Janai Brim waiting for him. I think defense helps them win this game. Miles Kelly has a big day shooting the ball for Auburn in this one, or maybe Tahad Pettiford. And Auburn wins this one and heads on into the finals. I did kind of want to pick North Carolina. Like I said, I feel like, Auburn's due for a letdown game possibly. But when I'm making these predictions, we're going to find out about these teams, if they're legit. And right now I have to pick based on who I think is the better team heading in. Right now I think Auburn is the better team than North Carolina heading into the tournament. I got to go with the Auburn Tigers. And these are the teams that I believe before this tournament, we're going to find out if I'm correct, are the best two teams in this field, and that is the Uconn Huskies and the Auburn Tigers. And who do I think is better right now? That's pretty tough. I feel like Auburn matches up pretty well with Uconn. Samson Johnson down low, since he is the guy at center now, no more Donovan Clingan. Is he going to hang around with one of the better two-way centers in the entire country in Janai Broom? That's going to be a huge test for him. And just all around, it's going to be a huge test for Uconn. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Auburn is going to win this game. I'm going to pick Auburn over Uconn to win the Maui tournament this year. I think that they are the best team in this field heading into it. I could definitely be wrong, and I will say this, I probably will be wrong. But Auburn, Uconn, North Carolina, Iowa State, even Michigan State, and Memphis, outside shot on Memphis, outside shot kind of on Michigan State as well. But definitely those top four, Uconn, Auburn, UNC, Iowa State, can win this tournament 110%. So it's going to be a tough one to predict, guys. Let me know who you guys think is going to win down below. And as far as Michigan State, North Carolina, for that third place game, I will take North Carolina to beat Tom Izzo's Michigan State team for third place in the Maui. Michigan State gets fourth place. Uconn second, Auburn is your champion. Those are my predictions. Let me know who you guys think is going to win the Maui down below in the comment section. And yeah, guys, make sure you guys subscribe. We got more college basketball content coming your way. You don't want to miss it. And thank you so much for watching.